fire hazard. Sneaking one in was the best way to get evicted. The upside was that the cockroaches didn't like the cold, and most of them stayed downstairs in the laundry room. Fun times. The apartment was on West 238th Street in Kingsbridge, several light years from the encouraging footfall of gentrification. She had one room that was half the size of her mother's walk-in closet, with a kitchenette in the corner and a bathroom in a cubbyhole so small that she had to squeeze between the toilet and sink to get into the shower. The windows were nailed shut, and it looked exactly like the kind of apartment they'd put in a movie if they wanted to show how freaking depressing someone's life could be. Joplin's flat was a 2-bedroom with a full kitchen, which he'd inherited from his dad and had turned into his art studio. Sometimes she went over there, but it was every bit as cold, and he was a slob. A gorgeous slob, she had to admit, but one who hadn't evolved his social skills past his dorm room days at art school. Rain rubbed her face with her palms and then glanced at the clock. 6:49. Shit, she said. The interview was at 9:30 all the way in the city. She had every intention of jumping to her feet and going full whirlwind through her morning routine. Bathroom, shower, clothes, makeup, out the door, bagel and coffee on the 1 train. That was the plan. Why bother? Asked her inner voice. You won't get it anyway. They'll do a background check and you'll be out on your ass. It was a familiar voice, the part of Rain's mind that ran a constant, disapproving commentary on everything she did. It was one of several voices that vied for attention inside the untidy mess of her brain. One of the legion of counselors she'd sat with over the years suggested the label of parasite. That fit. It lived within her and knew everything about her, but it had no interest at all in her well-being, though it was slippery and sly, and often pretended to be the voice of her common sense, her better angel. As if. Rain tried hard, every single day, to ignore that voice. Sometimes she managed, but it was persistent, relentless, and it knew all her secrets. She put her face in her hands and tried not to cry. Not because her life was so hard. Her life had always been hard. And not because she couldn't remember the dream, even though she felt she had to. No. Rain Thomas cried, because this was another day when she wouldn't score some rock and smoke her way off the planet. Another day. It was day number 1,106 of not using, and it hurt every bit as badly as day 1. She hid behind the closed doors of her palms and waited for the tears. Waited. But they didn't come. Not that morning. It wasn't a relief, though, because she knew they'd show eventually. They always did. People patted her on the back for getting her shiny pink 3-year coin from Narcotics Anonymous. They told her she was strong. Joplin told her she was tough as Supergirl. The hell did he? The hell, in fact, did anyone know? Bug, disturbed by her attempts to get up, wormed her way from under the blankets, stuck her black nose and brown eyes out, and peered at Rain. There was a flutter of blankets from the dog wagging her crooked little tail. Good morning, Fuzzball, said Rain thickly. Bug wagged harder, but her eyes cut to the night table where a Ziploc bag stood next to the clock. You want your morning cookie, don't you? A more enthusiastic wag. Rain took a crunchy treat from the bag, broke it into 3 small pieces and placed them on the mattress. It was a ritual. If she didn't do that, Bug would not emerge from the bed at all. Now she wormed her way on her belly like a World War I soldier sliding under barbed wire strung across no man's land. She took the first treat, moved farther, the second, the third. By then, she was completely out of bed and lay there, stretched to her full length, which wasn't much. A tiny body spotted with black, white, and brown, a tail that had been broken before Rain adopted her from the shelter, and which perpetually canted to the left. Mommy has a job interview today. Bug wagged her tail with great enthusiasm. Rain's cheering section. Think I'll get it? Bug sat up.